Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
A reminder, Donnie and Dolly's title sponsor is Able Auctions. Okay, we're about to be joined now by Kevin Epp, hockey agent from Titan Sports Management. He represents, among other NHLers, other pro hockey players, Travis Hamonic, who hasn't rejoined the Canucks in Canada on this Canuck road trip. Kevin, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
Hey, good. How are you guys doing today?
Very well, very well. Maybe you could shed some light on this. Why hasn't your client, Travis Hamonic, rejoined the Canucks in Canada like we were led to believe he would?
Yeah, no, everything indicated he'd be traveling. He got sick. He's got a bad flu and hasn't been able to get healthy and get on a plane to get out to join the team. So, I think he's probably amongst the team, and the team doctors thought better to not have him travel and get teammates, players sick, and everything on a long road trip. So that's why he hasn't joined the team there in Montreal and Ottawa.
And just to set the record straight, this is the flu. What's his vaccination status, Kevin?
Yeah, he's all good. He's completely 100% vaccinated, so there's no issues there.
Okay, and maybe, Kevin, maybe you could update us. Has he been? I know he hasn't been playing with the Abbotsford Canucks. Had he been practicing before the flu hit?
Yes, no, he'd been skating with the Abbotsford the whole time. So I think they've got some players that probably got the flu too. So I think maybe that's where he probably caught the flu bug, I would imagine. So.
Kevin, how go back to day one of training camp. How tough has this story been for you? Because Travis is in a Canadian market, Kevin, where, the media, the fans, the heat, and all that stuff. Just go back, and how tough has it been for you being the agent of this story?
I think it's tough on everybody. I think right now the market in Vancouver is so hostile. I think it's been difficult for anybody, the players. I mean, you're hearing the narratives that are coming out of the city right now, and most of them are kind of preempted by the media. I think the media makes stories that they want people to hear and believe, and most of it's negative, right? So I think, we're hearing about Jim Benning and Travis Green, and it continues day in, day out. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, somebody wants them out, and that's kind of the narrative throughout the media in the city, right?
Kevin, where's Travis Hamonic's mindset right now? Do you see him still playing next year? He still loves the game? Everything's there, Kevin, in your eyes?
Travis 100% loves the game, loves his teammates, loves being a Vancouver Canuck, and wants to be back helping his team play and get out of the funk they've been in here late, not getting wins. I think he played really well in their last homestand and was starting to get going and playing well with Hughes, like how he left off last season playing with him. So I think he's anxious to get back and get going and see what he can do.
Do you see down the road him playing in the USA on road trips, Kevin?
100% he'll be on the next road trips to the U.S. and he, hopefully, knock on wood, doesn't miss another game the rest of the season moving forward.
So, again, Kevin, just to repeat, you expect him to play on the 6-game homestand?
Yes, as long as he's healthy and good to go. I think that's the plan for him to be playing. So, be back skating and playing with the guys.
Kevin, you mentioned the media coverage when it comes to Jim Benning and Travis Green. Do you think the coverage of Travis Hamonic has been fair?
I think the media it's hard, right? People want to suggest and think and bring things upon. I don't know if it's fair. I mean, I think the Canucks have dealt with it properly. I think Travis has dealt with it properly, and I think it is where it is. And the teams should be about winning hockey games now and playing hockey, and anything off the ice shouldn't be a question.
Hey, Kevin, again, back to the media coverage that hits a spot with us, obviously. Can you blame the media for reporting on the team the way it has, given the situation this season and all the losing?
Yeah, I can totally blame the media. I think people don't realize what kind of damage they do to a team that has been fragile. I mean, this team's playing hard every night. They're losing 1 goal a games. They get a penalty kill here. They get a power play goal here. They score a goal against Chicago. I mean, they could be a 500 team or a playoff position. I don't think the players have given up on the coach. So I think the narrative, I mean, last week I heard the narrative was, there's a divide in the locker room. That's absolutely incorrect. And I don't know who reports that and then makes a story of it. And then there's a report that Francesco Aquilini and his brother don't get along, or they're having a rift. That's why they haven't fired the coach or the manager. Like, it seems to me the media makes narratives to whatever they want to see fit to get rid of players or coaches or managers or what. So I think it's completely unfair. They just haven't had the breaks that they could have, and they could be a real top team right now. And I think they're still playing hard, and they could easily turn this around. You look at the teams that have gone on to win the Stanley Cups the last few years, they're in markets that the media doesn't sabotage the team, you know? I think you look at Tampa Bay Lightning, you look at the St. Louis Blues, you look at these teams that have had success. When things were going bad in St. Louis, and they were the last place team in the NHL in January, and you were hearing, they weren't talking about firing the coach, the manager. They weren't talking about getting rid of players. They weren't talking about the rift in the locker room. And they turned it around and won a Stanley Cup. Like, I just think that the media doesn't necessarily understand how much pressure they put on the players and on the team and on the management. And it's all because they want to win. And that's what the players and the coaches and the managers want too. Everybody wants to win. But they honestly try to sabotage the team, not on purpose, but that's what ends up happening 90% of the time. And it affects the marketplace too, because players don't want to come and play when it's that kind of market. I mean, you look at Toronto at the start of the year, they wanted Austin Matthews and Marner and Nylander and all these guys, like, were producing, and now look at the Leafs now. Look at where they're at. It's funny how quickly it can turn if you give the players and the team the opportunity to turn it around without going hard on getting rid of everybody,
Yeah. Keeping in mind, St. Louis did win the Stanley Cup. They did let go of a coach that year, so there is that, whether it was media pressure or not. Kevin, how do you explain then, you say that the media has an influence on the team with its negative coverage, but then how do you explain the success that the Canucks have had in other years, 2011, 94, and 82? The media was much the same back then.
Yeah, and I guess when things are going good, the fans are on and the media are on the bandwagon of how good it's going. When it's going bad, though, instead of helping the team, I think they look for ways to, the solution isn't always to get rid of a coach or get rid of a manager. That's the easy question, I guess. I guess the question is going to be, do they give them time to come out of this, right? And are they going to come out of this? And the question, too, is, okay, so you get rid of the coach or the manager, do you actually have somebody out there that's better, or are you just getting rid of the coach and manager because that's what the media and the fans and that in the city want? Like, is there somebody better that's waiting that's not having a job right now in the league? Like, I don't know if there is,
Kevin, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, that's your client. He's had a good start here in Vancouver. And when he was acquired, you remember the negativity as well. But your thoughts on OEL this year in Vancouver?
Yeah, I mean, we go back to that. I mean, before he got here, everybody in town was quick to jump and say it was the worst trade. It was a terrible trade, and how bad they could have done by giving away the 9th pick to get Oliver and Connor Garland. And, I think both those guys came in and proved they're top-level players in the league and have played hard every night for the team and have shown up and are impact players for the team. And, yeah, it hasn't equivalated to wins and losses. And big points, but those guys are key contributors, right? So I think it went from everybody couldn't believe how bad the trade was to how everybody was like, oh, these guys are really good. Can't believe how good we did on the trade. And now the team's doing not so well. It's like, well, we shouldn't have given away those picks. Like now, it just goes round and round, The narrative just depends on how the team's doing with how they value trades and what they do, right?
Yeah, Kevin, I got to defend my industry here. Getting back to the media, you just brought it up again. Do you honestly think that we in the media have that much influence as to what goes on the ice?
1,000%. You guys have influence on what goes on the ice, but also what goes on with management and ownership. I mean, the ownership group, fans, they're fans, right? Like the ownership group listen to your shows. They watch what you guys say. They follow what goes on in the media, and you influence a lot of that. I think guys grip their sticks a little tighter. I think things happen. Obviously, players and coaches and managers say they don't listen to the media and don't follow it. But when your family's calling you and your friends are calling you, hey, are you getting fired? Like, are you doing all right? Like, how you doing? And they're like, what are you talking about? And then it's like, well, didn't you see this guy said this or this guy did that? Or, and it takes a life of its own. And it almost takes some of your energy away from what you're doing to prepare for a game. You're preparing the team, you're preparing yourself to play every day. And then you have outside energy where you have to spend time and effort thinking about stuff that you should not really be worried about,
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on this, okay, Kevin? Hey, before we let you go, how's Jake Virtanen doing in Russia? Very quickly.
Yeah, he's doing well over there. He's been scoring some goals, plays lots of minutes. The team's middle of the pack, so I think it's been pretty successful. He's enjoying himself in Moscow, and I think the hockey's been better than he expected. So that's
Okay, Kevin, we're losing you here. Thanks so much for this. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a good day. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kevin Epp, agent, Titan Sports Management. He represents, among others, Jake Virtanen, OEL, and the focus of that conversation, Travis Hamonic. We'll talk more about our conversation with Kevin Epp next. Donnie and Dolly, the team, on Check.